Welcome back to Week 9 of the NALCS. Joining us now is St. Vicious from Curse. An absolutely dominant game you guys just played again versus Marn. You guys had really great movement between lanes, and it's not something we regularly see from you guys. You know, Voyboy came down to cover for Nijaki. You took a little bit more mid-farm this time, so you must have been happy about that. What was all the transitioning about?
I don't know. Like, for some reason, we just always play, like, on point against Marn. Like, nothing against Marn, but, like, that's just the one team that, like, it seems like all our strategy just smashes them. I don't know. But we feel really comfortable. Like, we feel like we can just do anything versus them. So and we just took everything. Like, hey, I'll take your blue, I'll take your tower, I'll take your red, I'll take your life.
Yeah, you guys just seem to have total control in that game. When you got the 4-for-1 kill in the bottom lane, that was kind of the big turning point in that game. Do you want to kind of walk me through how that happened and why you guys came out on top?
I don't know. Elements was like, oh, damn, I'm caught.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, Malphite's up here. And then, like, I don't know, we were going to, like, run, and the Renekton just came in and cleaned everything up. And I didn't know that Malphite had ultimate still, so I, like, went down to, like, the sliver of health. I'm like, well, oh, okay, never mind. Volibear OP.
Yeah, and then from there, you guys just kind of walked away with it. Even the Volibear OP thing at the start of the game when you got the first blood was like, yeah, passive, I got away with it.
Oh, I didn't have my passive on that. Because I used it when I pulled red, because I was like, well, I'll just save some pots, you know?
So that was all elements.
So I'm just not very observant then.
Well, Jackie ran in and exhausted him, and like Jarvan doesn't do any damage after his flag toss combo's out. So I thought for sure I'd die. Like he hit me to probably like 1 health or something. And I'm like, okay, double buff for Jackie. This is good.
Awesome stuff. And the All-Star voting in Shanghai is going to be closed on April 15th. You have a pretty big lead over the odd one a little bit. Do you want to talk about your expectations? Do you think you're going to win? Are you happy about where you're going right now?
I mean, I think anything's possible. Like, we're going to bring, we're talking about, we're going to bring the All-Star team to the Curse House, and we're going to boot camp there for a week before. So, hopefully, like, we can pull some crazy strats out. Like, there's a lot of players that are getting, like, the picks. Like, people can play some pretty random stuff, so I think we can come up with some fun team comps. Should be good.
As one of the top junglers, you know, having that vote, what do you think people see in you? What do you think puts you up top as one of the best junglers in North America?
I think it's about, like, building the proper team, because, like, I know Dyrus and Scar are on top right now, and Scar is more of like a passive farmer lane. I mean, he can be aggressive when he wants to, but you need to have like aggression somewhere on the map, and you either needs to be like in the bottom lane or your jungle. Like you need to have at least 2 aggressive players on your team, I'd say, to make plays off of. So Dyrus is more of a passive player, Scar is more of a passive player. So I guess they picked me to be the aggressor.
So going by that same motto, do you have a similar setup on Curse, and then who fits which aggression roles?
I'd say Voyboy and I are the aggressors, definitely. And then Cop and Elements just chill out bottom and farm. And Jackie just wanders around and dreams about Chinese food.
So what's it like now? Almost to the last week, almost to week 10. You guys are still holding on to the first place spot. We've heard Elements say, you know, it wasn't great to not be in first, but having first is also good because of the pressure. How are you guys taking it right now? You training any harder? Is there any special recipe coming up?
I feel like the worse we do in scrims, the week leading up, the better we do. Like, we just got, like, destroyed in scrims this week. It was terrible. And then like, we come here and we're like, all right, everybody's on point. It's good to go. So maybe before Super Week, we're just going to make sure to lose, like, 100% scrims and just, like, get stomped by, like, some Bronze League or something. I don't know.
There you go. You were saying you guys lost the games and you went up in 2% in votes. So
yeah,
lose games, pluses.
Yep.
All right.
So with your scrim schedule, I mean, I've talked to you a bit before about this, how you kind of thrive in the chaos. There's got to be more to it. Are you figuring out why you like lose in scrims but then just dominate in the LCS? Or is it just like magic?
I honestly wish I knew. Like, we're just frustrated. Like, how did this even happen? Like, we're just sitting there trying to go through it and break down the scrims and everything. It's just like, Steve's just got like spreadsheets out and documents and stuff and like pictures and pie charts and God knows what else he has. But we can't figure it out. For some reason, we always do good at, I guess people just play better in like the live environment.
Yeah, who gives you the most trouble in scrims of all the teams in the LCS?
We played CLG a lot this week, and then we just played other like rando teams. So we only lost to CLG actually, but I don't know. It's probably CLG. Like just their play style, the way they play is just counter to ours, I say. Even though we're like 2-2 against them in the LCS.
Awesome stuff. And I also heard that you had a new Curse store. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we just opened it up. It's teamcurse.net, and there's a little store button on the top right. So we have like little funny shirts like Curse Cop, and he's like eating donuts and stuff, and then they have like a Chubby Bear shirt. And you can like buy our jackets and stuff on there. So check it out.
Awesome
Do you have
stuff.
any St. Vicious jungle stuff?
There's a shirt that says confirmed on Saints stream, which actually it doesn't have the apostrophe on Saints. And I had people like message me and stuff, like a huge row of them. And then one of them, it's like, excuse me, there's no apostrophe on this. And then it ends, we should be together. I'm just like, what? Weirdest grammar Nazi ever.
The love of an LCS pro, ladies and gentlemen, St. Vicious. Well, guys, congrats on your match. Congrats on the good luck on the rest of the matches, I should say, and keeping that first place hold here. Dignitas on your heels. Good luck in the LCS. All right, everyone, it's time for our second match of the day, and that's Dignitas versus CLG. Dignitas has been one of the league's best teams all season, thanks to their fearless leader and the most popular mid laner in the league, Scara.
Earlier this week, I got a chance to sit down and talk with him about Dignitas.
I'm going in on him.
Coming into the season, what were your expectations like, and have you exceeded those expectations?
Well, I personally won the top 3, top 2, if possible, and we're pretty much where I expected to be.
Yeah. What was the most disappointing or hardest part of the season for Dignitas?
Ooh, I think our losses, the curse, have all been like just the worst. Like the loss a couple weeks ago, we lost the curse off a really bad level 1. Like they just outplayed us because they had like a random river ward that we had no idea was there.
What are some of the things that have went exceptionally well for Dignitas this season?
Our games against CLG have gone very well.
It's going to be Dignitas picking up a convincing victory over Counter Logic Gaming.
And they're the team that we typically have some of the hardest time against in scrims. But our overall record right now is 2-1, so I like where that's at as well.
You are ridiculously famous at this point at those events. So there's people coming up, mariachi, Scara, girls wanting hugs all the time. How are you dealing with the fame, and did you expect it?
I didn't expect quite this level of fame. Like, I don't really know how to respond, and people are like, oh my god, it's Scara. And then they typically are like, can I have an autograph? I'm like, sure, but while I'm saying that, I'm like, this is weird. Like, this is still like a weird moment for me.
Let's talk about the All-Star game for a little bit, because of the North American mid laners, you're like 54% in the voting. You probably have more votes than every player in North America. Is that something to be expected, or is that something that surprised you?
I expect somewhere around like 35%, 39%, maybe 40%. And as the days have progressed, I'm like, oh, wow, like I'm 49%. I wake up in the morning, 51%. Next morning,
it just keeps
53%. And this morning, 54%. And I'm just like, wow, thank you for voting for. Like, I don't even vote for myself anymore. I just like vote for other people.
You seem like a bit of a team leader for Dignitas. Is that the case?
I do a lot of managing for the team, and I make sure people are on the same page. I try to take a more captain role when we're discussing certain things, or if I think something is like should be brought to discussion, I try to bring it up. Because a lot of people on my team are very quiet about it, or just outside of like maybe crumbs, don't bring it up as much.
Right.
I'm hoping down the line, everyone just brings their own ideas to the table, because that's typically the way I would want it to be run.
Right. Yeah. And what's your level of trust? I mean, you guys have kind of gained that pretty quickly.
We just have a level of trust where it's like, okay, what do you want here? What's ideal? And what are we looking to play in? What objectives, like what champions are we looking to play against these? And that's how we prepare for games. And it's worked out for us pretty well, I would say.
Right at the start of the season, Crumbs had to go back to the jungle, and you guys picked up Kiwi Kid. How do you think Kiwi Kid's adapted and fit in with Dignitas so quickly?
He meshes very well with most of the people on our team. That's why he's fit in so well with us. I'd say communication-wise, he's still getting there. And he still has some like rough edges around, but for the most part, he's performed very, very well.
How long do you see yourself being involved in esports?
It's obviously my passion right now, and I love it. I'd say as long as I enjoy doing it. I see myself in esports for the whole period of time.
So, Jack, in the interview with Scara, you brought up that crushing in the All-Star voting. What makes him so popular?
Yeah, so Scara is not only just a likable guy, but he's well-spoken, and most of all, he's good at the game, and he's been in the scene for a long time. So people can vote him for his skill, the old fans vote for him, and the new fans vote for him. So it's one of the big reasons that he's so far ahead.
It's awesome to have players like this in the league that can kind of hold that for the community, for other people as well, and be a leader for them, or even a mentor at times. And to see a special extended version of Jat's interview with Scara, head over to lolesports.com. All right, everyone, after Curse's victory in today's first game, Scara and Dignitas need a win to keep pace in the LCS. Standing in their way is a Counter Logic Gaming team that looked like they had turned their season around with a huge Week 7, but a loss last week has CLG below 500 again, and things do not get any easier for them today. Dignitas has won both matches this year, including a 17-2 crush in Week 6, where they shut out Doublelift.
And Doublelift actually leads the LCS with 117 kills, but had 0 against Dignitas the last time they played in Week 6. He was 0-3-1 as Ezreal. So CLG is set up to have Doublelift as the carry, so if he gets shut down, CLG just loses.
We'll have to see what they can do. It's sleepy lift from what we just saw on the screen.
He's a little tired. The good news for CLG, though, aside from Doublelift's tiredness, is that Dignitas is missing Crumbs, right? And
Yeah,
Crumbs' jungle play is so instrumental in their strategies against them, and it was one of the big reasons that Doublelift got shut down last time.
Yeah, we've heard that Crumbs holds all the flash calls and everything for the team in the early game. So if they don't have that to organize and orchestrate, they may have some problems in that early game. All right, everyone, the players are almost ready, so let's take a look at our lineups. Spawning in the blue corner is Dignitas. Kiwi Kid in the top lane, DJ Lambo in the jungle this week, Scara in mid. I'm a Cutie Pie on AD, and Patoy at support.
And in the red corner, it's CLG with Hotshot GG in top lane, Chowster in the jungle, Link in mid lane, Doublelift on AD carry, a little bit sleepy, and Aphromoo on support.
And as we said before in our first game, this is today's matchup in the mid lane. It's our featured matchup, and it's going to be Scara versus Link.
Yeah, they faced off twice this season before, and before Link was actually a pro in the LCS, he looked up to Scara a lot. They're really good friends, they talk quite frequently, and they both used to be known for their unique champion pool. Scara continues to use unique champions, most notably Gragas in a lot of ways, but Link has conformed a little bit lately. He's long-range skill shot champion type player, and he played Lux 4 games in a row coming into this one.
And that may play kind of into the way Scara plays or against Scara, because he likes to kind of go aggressive on those early levels, and that's when teams can kind of catch him out for that first blood sometimes. But he's been really good about that this season.
It's definitely one of those things about Scar. It's like he's kind of a passive player, but he gets himself in trouble sometimes because it's always been Scar's style to get every single last minion kill. And sometimes junglers and enemy teams just capitalize on that because they're those ones where it's like, well, you know, there's a small chance I die, but he probably doesn't expect me to go for this one. But it's kind of, you're Scara. We know you're going to go for that minion kill, and then he can get punished early. So that's the pitfall he can fall into a little bit.
Everybody feeling the Thursday here in LA. Beautiful weather outside. You can see Cutie Pie getting a good stretch on before the game starts. Aphromoo with a big smile on his face. Just get the camera out of my face. I'm bad on camera.
I'm a Cutie Pie, of course, joking on his stream that he was going to play Heimerdinger in these games. I don't think that's going to happen. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's a very unique streaming experience if you ever get to catch him over on Twitch TV. He's taking a little rest before the game as well, trying to have as much energy as Doublelift. And you can there see DJ Lambo actually sitting between Kiwi Kid and Scara on that shot. Totally new experience for him. I mean, doesn't even have the full Dignitas jersey. He's in here for the week, right? He's got the Dignitas shirt. He's part of the team, but it's such a huge responsibility, as you talked with. I wonder if in Dignitas' practices, they've switched up their communication at all, because I don't know if they'll trust DJ Lambo to just take all the information and then make the big decisions, seeing as he's so new to the team, and they've really only been practicing together for about a week.
It would be something that's hard to do, right? Because then if you leave that up to him, already having the position of a leader, you can't be quiet. So if he gets frustrated and then can't do that, quiet is the biggest thing that can create chaos, being quiet.
If I had to guess, Dignitas is going to be putting a lot more stress on Scara's role this game, because he already says he plays a bit of a captain role, and I'd expect him to probably play a bit more of a calling role here too. Even he was talking about Kiwi Kid in the extended interview about how Kiwi Kid is really good, but his communication actually isn't quite there yet. So it really does put a lot of pressure even back on Scara again, and Scara complains that we talk him up too much because he is way ahead in the All-Star voting. And you look at Kiwi Kid, who's not part of the two-man race, which is between Dyrus and Voidboy in the top lane, but he's still a really strong player in himself. Even more pressure there for Dignitas.
So looking at these teams and what they've really played before, Counterlogic Gaming kind of still has that late-game-esque play style to them. I think they always will. And Dignitas really has a fight composition that will consistently win a laning phase. Who's really going to have that advantage in this matchup right off the bat? A
lot of it's just going to depend on what style CLG picks into, because CLG is kind of reinventing themselves so far in this season. They're 10-11. That is nothing they're happy about. I mean, last week we had that great feature on the struggles that they've kind of went through, and then it just got a little harder last week because they lost their game, right? They dropped below 500 again. Doublelift is still really the only one they're relying on to carry. Chowster's still not playing super high threat junglers, right? Aphromoo, I think, actually gets a lot more flack than he deserves as well. He's top % kill participation of all the support players in North America, or even all the players in North America. Some of that could have to do with how much Doublelift gets kills and how Aphromoo is just like always next to him since he is a support. But it does go to show that he is doing a really good job there. It's the team synergy for CLG that isn't quite there yet.
And it's crazy to think now, Curse, I believe 17-4 on the mark, which is 21 games, which means they have 7. CLG has 7 right now. And with Curse at 17 games, CLG's 10 and 11, so they can only win 17 games. So
there's
they
no way.
need to get these wins.
There's no way that CLG would be able to pass Curse. Right now, Curse is just fighting to try, or CLG is fighting to just get a better seed, right? They want to make sure that in the in the LCS playoffs that they have a better chance. But I think first and foremost, CLG wants to win these games against the higher tier teams because this is their measuring stick. Of all the teams, like of the top 4 that if we can call them that now, CLG loses more to the bottom teams, but actually has a pretty good success rate against the top teams. So they're going to really focus on this Dignitas matchup.
We see Gragas Diana being banned out here. They're kind of double banning a little bit with the Diana and getting that Gragas away from Scara. And we see the Udyr and Lux as well. Like you said, Link on those long-range skill shot champions in mid.
And if there is a criticism against Scara, it is his small champion pool. He plays unique champions, but he doesn't play that many. So the Gragas ban, the Diana ban, they're trying to attack him. You can see he's already a little bit worried because he's like, yeah, I really wanted to play one of those 2 champions, and I can't. So the Udyr ban was definitely at probably Hotshot GG's split pushing top lane. And we'll see what this last ban goes for CLG, whether they throw another one at Scara, and they actually just throw Shen out.
They do. They leave the Kayle open, which Dignitas really hasn't toyed with too much lately, but it was said previously in the early weeks of the LCS, we will drop our strat for Kayle.
Yeah. Dignitas usually provided strategies that didn't involve Kayle, and then if someone left him up, they're just like, okay, yep, we'll take it. But Kayle has received some changes since then. We are on the 3.5 patch, so not the 3.5 balance patch that happened a couple, like either last night or 2 days ago. So it's what these guys will be comfortable with. But that left Thresh open when they banned Shen, and that is a huge pick for Patoy.
He is definitely going to enjoy that. It's going to give Patoy. It's going to give I'm a Cutie Pie the aggression he may want in lane. His Draven is still open as well. We're going to see what Chronologic Gaming goes to pick on and start off here. Probably just top jungle if they don't decide to go with support and not really show anything.
Well, Doublelift has went on record saying Draven is trash, so he's not afraid of the Draven.
Of course.
Even though he's lost a few times to it in the past. We'll see how CLG marks with this because Vayne is completely available, right? Vayne has been getting banned out for Doublelift for quite some time. There was actually a point where, before Vayne started getting banned, Doublelift was like, I didn't think of what to do if they banned Vayne. I didn't prepare anything else. And I wonder if he's actually forgotten to prepare Vayne since it got banned out so much. And this is very predictable CLG in this moment because Chouster lives on Jarvan jungle if it's available, and the Sona is just a standard pick for Africa.
I can really see the Vayne pick kind of just being let come out with the Thresh since it is so aggressive, since it's so good at shutting down a Vayne once he wants to get into that fight. So that's going to be a pretty good pick. I'd love to see if Dignitas is like, yeah, we'll take it, and we're going to play against it for a reason. But like you said, Hotshot GG picking up the Sona. Chouster, his Jarvan as well. So we'll have to see what Lambo can bring to the table in the jungle. This
will be real interesting because DJ Lambo in the qualifiers played a lot of Nocturne, but Dignitas is not a team to really play with Nocturne. So they were saying, when I was talking to him earlier, we're getting DJ Lambo off of Nocturne. I think they're trying to make him into just a mini Crumbs. They want him to play the same things. They want to stick to their same play style, and they want to just execute as if it was Crumbs. I don't know if DJ Lambo is going to be able to do that, and I wonder if Dignitas is going to stick with that strategy.
There is a lot of discussion, actually, that was going on there. They took quite a bit of time to do that, and it may just seem like they want to be able to have Lambo lock down a lane that he goes into and have safe ganks here.
So right now, I don't think they picked the jungler yet. They did the safe Elise pick. That is either a support for Patoy or a top lane for Kibi because they've decided to do both of those. The Caitlyn pick is very strong against a potential Vayne that Doublelift could play. When Doublelift got shut out 0-3 in the last game against Dignitas, it was against a Caitlyn. So Dignitas remembered that. Cutie Pie definitely remembered that, and we'll see if CLG keeps that in mind. Keep in mind, as well, last time Vayne was banned, so it wasn't available.
And Vayne does get almost hovered over by Doublelift there and switches back and forth, taunting Cutie Pie, smile on his face. He's holding it back. Yep, hold it back. It's Link waiting to pick out as well, but whatever he runs, it looks like he's going to be running barrier on that for a bit of safety as we come into the lock-in. I was going to say Nidalee, and I didn't think he was going to lock it in, but he did.
Very nice. I mean, we talked about long-range poke champions for Link. Lux was banned. What's the next super long-range blow-you-up spell? That's a Nidalee Spear. So even though it's Hotshot Nidalee GG on CLG, it's probably a mid-lane Link. It could be swapped around on us, and we could be completely surprised, but that's my guess.
So what would Hotshot go in this case? I didn't even mean to say that.
I think something like Malphite. He's really comfortable on Malphite or even Cho'Gath. They're, with the Nidalee, already opting themselves into a bit of a poke comp, and then they'd want some hard engage if they get someone low. They've ran the Malphite with a Jarvan before, and they might go with something similar here.
Fizz Blitz, completely viable. Let's see this happen. It's going to be great. Awesome.
And it's locked in. No,
and it's all locked in. But there actually could be the Kayle being locked in as CLG waits and watches as Patoy smiles as they lock in these last few champions. We are going to see a Zed coming in, and the Kale does get locked in.
So this just mixed everything up right now because Dignitas has probably a Kale mid or top because the Zed could go mid, top, or jungle, and the Elise could go mid, top, or jungle. This is actually something I don't know because I don't know enough about DJ Lambo. I've seen Scara practice a lot of Zed. First game of the year, Kiwi Kid played Kale top, and we could see an Elise jungle because the Thresh has already been picked up, so my mind is off today.
I do think that's going to be Elise jungle.
Passes.
Lambo and Scara talked quite a bit, we saw on the screen when that was coming up, and then they locked it in, so it didn't look like it would be for anybody else. We could see the Cho'Gath on to Hotshot GG in the top lane, and they are going to lock it in to kind of accentuate that poke composition.
Yeah, so the CLG pick is a comfort pick for Hotshot GG. He's going to try to create pressure on that Cho'Gath. That's the poke farm late game comp for CLG. It's like everybody support double lift and get a little bit of poke going on there. And Dignitas threw me off so much that for some reason, when I saw Thresh and Elise, I thought Elise was going support. I don't know where that would have put Thresh, but now it does look like DJ Lambo is going to go with that jungle Elise if they don't do any more swapping. Yep. Kiwi Kid will be top Kale and Scar will be mid Zed. So this is a new look Dignitas a little bit. Elise is not a Crumbs jungler. This is very much a DJ Lambo jungler, so we'll really have to see how that goes for them when they get into this game.
I was really thinking that Dignitas would give them some kind of crowd control, easy gank for each lane jungler that they could bring to the table, right? You got a Kale in the top lane, you get your crowd control from the jungle. You got a Zed in the mid lane, crowd control from the jungle. So they can really work top and bottom. I think QtPie and Patoy are kind of known they're going to be on an island, and we may not see too much ganking in that lane.
Right, I think that QtPie and Patoy will be happy just laning against Doublelift. Caitlyn is an obscenely strong laner, right, especially against Doublelift's Vayne. Yes, Doublelift can pull off some amazing plays as Vayne, but there's only so much you can do when you're outranged by 100 in lane against a player as good as I'm a QtPie. So we'll see if that lane is survivable by CLG standards, or if they do lane swaps, because CLG has done a lot of lane swaps, and Hotshot is a very good 1v2 laner with Cho'Gath.
So Chowster, mostly aggressive in his theory crafting. Do you think they're going to actually go for an invade on this?
It'll be very, very interesting because CLG has risks free to take, right? But for the most part, Dignitas CLG when they win, tries to do it by outplaying people. They had that little cheese-ish strategy way back in the day, but when you do the late game strategies, you're not really looking for like the early game win.
Right.
You're just going to try to outplay them and grind out victories.
All right, so don't pressure yourself out when you don't need to. We'll see if Chronologic can stick to their guns on this one as we are onto the Rift. You see the teams facing off game 2 of the day here in Week 9. Chronologic Gaming versus Dignitas now underway. And red elixirs for Dignitas once again. 750 gold thrown into that pot.
So I'm a QtPie, still really the only AD carry that throws that red elixir first. Patoy opting not to go for a red elixir. We had seen some Thresh red elixirs the other week, but dumping 1,000 gold into elixirs might be a little bit much. 750 is reasonable for Dignitas, but 1,000, that's just madness. And
you can find the return on investment somewhere.
Yeah. The return on investment, the dividend shuts in the wrong direction here. But Dignitas 4 grouped up in a lower brush. They don't get caught out by Chowster's flag toss, and they might try and invade, but Link is looking for a bit of scouting. Does look like Dignitas is going aggressive.
Oh, the Nidalee Spear just going across, whizzing past Patoy there. We do see Hotshot did take teleport, and he will be in the bottom lane to start this one off as we get a swap coming in. Let's see if this will be called by Dignitas. And it looks like they may stay towards this top side. QtPie has not chosen to back yet.
So Dignitas got the ward control in that spot, but CLG defensively warding. They put one on their own red. They don't want to have that taken away. And it does look like the level 1 bloodbaths from last week are a little thing of the past. There's a bit of luckiness coming into those ones. And they're back to their standard stuff because both junglers are starting at Wolves. And it does look like we'll see the lane swap from both sides.
Really not too aggressive on the wards. They get their Wraiths in. Not as much vision coming in for Chronologic Gaming. A pretty deep ward here for Dignitas, so they may get some vision to work on in the early part of this game with that gank up top.
All right, so Kiwi Kid, top lane Kale will be very interesting to see how he deals with the 1v2 because his 1 kill experience this year did not go well. Yes, it was against TSM, and it was a 1v lane, I believe, against a Renekton, but it didn't work. So Kiwi Kid has the reconfidence now with DJ Lambo on the team, and he's helping him with that play.
So we'll have to see what Dignitas does here in the first 5 minutes. If they really try to work anything off the red elixirs, or they are, as usual, just solely for the lane win and to be safe in the lane if anything happens. Hotshot now returning to lane after pretty good help for Chowster in the jungle. And we are going to see how Kiwi Kid starts to handle this 2v1 in the top lane for himself. Actually, looks like Scara has went to the bottom, and QtPie and Patoy stay mid.
This is something Dignitas has done a lot this year. We just noticed here. So Link going to get pushed back a little bit in that lane. They got barrier on Link as well, so he should be slightly more immune to potential mid lane dive. But now we really have to see how Scara and Kiwi could do and how the tower damage pressure works out. Like how much damage is Link's tower going to take versus how much damage Kiwi Kid's tower is going to take in the top lane.
Really great pressure from Cutie here, getting all the shots in he can, as well as using his abilities. They know if they just get Link under that turret, it's going to be very hard for him to farm, and that's an easy lane to shut down right away.
And it looks like they're actually trying to deny him right now. So they didn't show their two-man lane very early, I think, and that's why Link auto-attacked the wave a little bit. So instead of just pushing the turrets, they're doing what rarely gets seen, where they're trying to just keep Link off of experience and just keep him down in the game.
We see some movement here for a lane gank, possibly from Chowster as he heads towards that top lane. It's the same way Lambo was going, but he may not be early enough. It's going to be a slow one here. Kiwi Kid is quite far back to the turret. He still has his escapes up, and he should be safe here.
So you can see CLG pinging, thinking there might be an approach. They know it's just a three-man brawl right straight up the middle. And Kiwi Kid just giving up that turret smartly, doesn't want to get dove. He's waiting for the Lambo backup. They shouldn't lose the entire turret on this push.
Looks like they are going to get quite a good amount of damage, though. Lambo coming up to help. We see mid getting actually pushed back by Link. He's having some fun time there. They're giving him some room to play with, and they still are going pretty aggro on this turret. Double lift farming as Chowster getting as many shots in as he can. Lambo shows himself a little bit more here. They know they need to get the pressure off.
And this is just the counter pretty much. So Kiwi Kid didn't get shut down that much. Still farming, you know, got 10 minion kills compared to Link's 8, who's been denied a little bit more than Kiwi Kid over in that lane. But so far, really no action. Gold is even. Junglers are just mirroring each other. And maybe even a slight edge of tower damage probably towards CLG, but still nothing of huge note.
Cutie Pie is continuously hitting those headshot Piltover Peacemaker combos. Link has absolutely chugged through all consumables now. He has an empty inventory belt, and he looks to really just sustain off the mana that is quickly going out of that mana bar as well.
It's one of these combos that recently Caitlyn players have started doing. If you fire your 90 caliber net the same time as your Q will cast from way back from where you ended up, but it will have the same range as if you didn't move. So what actually ends up happening is you slow them with your E, which gives your Q a better chance of landing, and you get the damage from both. And that's the combo we saw Cutie Pie performing over there.
Just locking it in every time. Scara in this bottom lane here. He is 32 CS to 30 on Hotshot GG as they just go back and forth. High five for each CS. Hotshot chugging down some of those potions as he came to lane, looking to stay there for quite a while.
And they haven't done, or Scar hasn't really done much in this lane. Hotshot's happily farmed away. He's burned through a lot of health potions. And Scar hasn't burned through his red elixir. I wonder if Scar is trying to get level 6 in that bottom lane. He's still really far away from it, so I'm not sure what Lambo's doing in that lane. He's not going to make anything happen for quite some time.
We did have Cutie Pie use up that red a little few minutes ago. There's some damage onto Hotshot. Probably won't be everything under the turret. He does force the flash, though, and that could be something for them in the next few minutes.
Well, there's another failed prediction for the day because he did force the flash there. I mean, Hotshot, for some reason, hugged close to that brush. Got the stun landed, which did force the flash, which is going to put him into so much danger now because Scara will have a red elixir plus ult potential if Hotshot doesn't go back to base very quickly.
It was really great weight on Scara, too, to not kind of telegraph that was coming in. Hotshot was using the bush the whole time, and he felt super safe to go in. So they get an advantage in the bottom lane, but CLG says, let's take the turret in the top so we can get the pressure off a Hotshot that flashes down.
That 6-minute turret in the top lane, and that is trying to be countered by Dignitas' 3-man push up mid. If they can get this turret, it will actually be an advantage for them because the middle turret holds more strategic value than that top lane turret. They got a few creeps left, and Chowster's doing his best to clear him, and he does end up saving it for now.
Siege clearing with every ability as Jarvan. He is helping, and he does save the turret. It's very, very low. Looking about a tenth of the health there. A few more shots from Cutie Pie and crew with this next wave could mean everything, and you see how much focus they're putting here in the mid lane.
But look at this. Aphromoo has managed to come down to help, and Doublelift will be on the way shortly. So far, CLG has won the turret's arms race. That's one of the risks you put when you have two people mid instead of in a top or a side lane. You don't push the turret as quickly for some reason. It's just the mid lane is more easily protectable from the jungle. Hotshot teleports to the bottom, so very much CLG playing a turret-focused strategy thus far, and they have a slight edge in it.
And they're going to focus that power. Hotshot looks to stay in that bottom lane for quite some time, so you're going to see them putting together Link, Doublelift, and the rest of the crew in this mid lane so he can do his job. 7 minutes in on this one. It's only an 800 gold lead for those turrets around the, or for that turret, I should say, around the map. going in favor of Counter Logic Gaming. Patoy here to soak up some experience in mid, and everybody on Dignitas is trying to get in that XP zone right now. We see Caitlyn going top, Scara back to the bottom.
Yeah, so Hotshot GG actually picked up an early Glacial Shroud. We'll see if that's enough resilience to Scara's Bilgewater Cutlass if Scara decides to go aggressive on him in the bottom lane here. Actually has a level on him as well, so gotta say, even though Hotshot's down 9 minion kills, he has been ganked once. He's doing a pretty good job holding on that Cho'Gath. The utility are really showing the team fights. The big thing that Dignitas wants to take a victory in is the fact that they've kept Link to 22 minion kills, just now buying his Tear of the Goddess on Italy, and the fact that CLG has the turret as well. So I gotta say, early game victories for CLG so far.
So we are 8 minutes in here as Dignitas slowly tries to get some CS back into their favor. Well, not CS, but ground, and that map presence back into their favor. Kiwi Kid now into that mid lane, as we said. We saw Cutie Pie go top. He's trying to get himself nice and fed up. Probably got some good money under his belt, as he really hasn't put too much there. Only 400 actually, so he's quite behind on that Vayne BS sword.
Yeah, it's the big reason is he completed Berserker Greaves.
Right.
So he's gone for the mobility and the attack speed, trying to proc more headshots, whereas Doublelift just rushed the BF sword and is relying on Tumble and his passive for his mobility. Also the fact that Doublelift is in the mid lane, which is a shorter lane, and he doesn't have to worry about getting back as much. Plus, CLG is putting extended pressure on the mid lane because that's the turret of theirs. It's the lowest, and they don't want to let that fall.
And then, it looks like we might have a dragon soon. Actually, everybody kind of hovering around that area. Hotshot finally coming back. His ult is down, that teleport's still down, the flash is still down. So they got to be careful. They don't really have anything but that smite for this dragon attempt, and they could have a lot more. So patiently waiting this one out could really put them in a better spot.
So both teams have 4 people kind of lurking around the middle. Hotshot's wave clear is just here for support because they really, really don't want this turret to go down, despite the range poke and harass that could be present from Dignitas' lineup. See, that turret has not taken damage in quite some time, and I'm expecting CLG to live here as long as possible. They're going to make sure that they don't shop in bad increments, and they're going to make sure they always have people there to defend the turret.
So why has it changed now? Usually it's Hotshot in the bottom lane. Why have they gone ahead and sent Link to the bottom? Is it so he can continuously scale with Scara throughout the game?
I think it's they don't want him to fall behind too much. A lot of their strategy is going to be around Link spamming his spears, and he was getting so denied in the middle lane, and they knew that Dignitas' pressure on the middle lane was going to be detrimental to his farming, so they just put him up against Scara. He can try to keep his range, right? He can hopefully not get spiked out by Scara's combo, and he's going to be able to pick up a bit of farm in that bottom lane. We'll see if it ends up working out.
All right, Hotshot GG, level 8 rather, to level 7 here on Kiwi Kid, using all his abilities to just push the lane. He knows he's only getting a little harassed from Kiwi Kid. He's got a smile on his face, though, so no real danger for Hotshot GG.
Yeah, Hotshot maxing his Feral Scream on Cho'Gath. Usually what he does is just kind of the Scream strat. There's the crescendo.
Crescendo coming out. The cleanse comes off. He gets the flash, but it gets taken down. The Cataclysm closes him out. And it looks like they're going to keep going for this fight for a few more shots. CLG backs off with a quick advantage.
It's one of those things I couldn't quite see Chouster coming, and I guess Dignitas didn't either because they didn't get out of that one. That's the extended pressure that Dignitas wants to keep putting on the middle lane, and CLG is keeping just as many people there to try to counter it. But now Scar is roaming up, and now they'll see if they can get something happening.
You can see the leader making the calls as they try to go in. Lambo looks to start the execution, but he can't get out to get to Cocoon from the Condemn. A lot of C's there.
So 3 people mid for Dignitas, but that left Link free in the bottom lane. Shoving that lane up as quickly as possible and immediately pulls Scara back down. So far the communication does seem a little lacking for Dignitas, right? They lost the turret siege, they haven't been able to find a strategy to get the mid turret down, and they fell asleep a little bit there with the Chouster game.
Lambo going back to farming here. Hotshot GG, not really a target that he could put a gank on anymore. I'll have to wait until Link comes back into the bottom lane and put some pressure there. They may have some aggression onto Dragon, but Teleport's about to come up for Hotshot, so we may now see CLG start to position for that.
Yeah, they know Kiwi Kid can't really counter it, and Kiwi Kid's still sitting on that red elixir from the start of the game. So another thing we have to remember is 2 of the red elixirs have been consumed for Dignitas, whereas it hasn't been the case for CLG. So not only is it that 1,300 gold, you add 500 of that, and it's almost a 2,000 gold advantage here for CLG. Link is recovering as well in this lane. He's doing fairly well. He's got the Sorcerer Shoes as well. Even though he has no defensive items on Italy, he still hasn't been spiked out by Scara, so he's got to take some pride in that farming ability. And I really want to see if Dignitas has a move to make, because all season they've seemed to be one step ahead of their opponent, and it doesn't seem like it's the case so far in this game.
Expect 1 more minute to be the amount of time that CLG really waits on probably pressuring anything. That's going to be Hotshot GG's last stack on Feast. We see the mid push going down here, so they're trying to get some damage on this turret and the champions in middle. Make that Dragon a little bit easier. You don't usually see early dragons from anybody but Complexity, but 13 or 14 minutes could definitely be a time for both of these teams.
And CLG should have pretty good dragon control, especially if Hotshot's Feast comes up there, because they can spike the 1,000 damage from Feast with the now 670 damage from Chouster's Smite. Also, Hotshot would have enough money for a Frozen Heart really, really soon if he decides to go back to base. I don't know if he's going to super rush that aura item, but with the teleport up and with the pink ward, I don't even think they have a pink ward in this area. They just take the dragon because they knew everyone on Dignitas and went back to base.
Chouster and Aphromoo just kind of pushed everybody back, saw them backing in vision and said, hey, thanks, we'll take this dragon. So they do decide to go for it. Don't even need the teleport from Hotshot, so he can just be happy and do what he does best as farm shot GG in that top lane here. 13 minutes in, still only 1 kill coming out. That catch onto Cutie Pie just a few minutes ago.
The absence of crumbs, I feel, is really making an impact on this game. Even though dragon control is a team objective, a lot of times the jungler needs to remind people when the other team has pressure on it and how they need to ward in and around it, because that just didn't happen in that situation. Like, CLG really just got it completely for free, even without a pink ward, and that's almost inexcusable for a professional team here. So Dignitas falling back now 2,500 gold, and still no turrets 13.5 minutes into the game for a team in Dignitas that usually pressures turrets quite well.
So we actually see DJ Lambo picking up the blue throughout the game here. He is going to stick with that so they can keep getting those initiations in and also help him continue. I wouldn't say stay in the game. He does have a good core item, that Spirit of the Spectral Wraith under his belt. But hopefully he can get the auras for his team, as these fights are really going to have to be where Dignitas gains an advantage. Scara and Lambo now to push this bottom turret, open up the map presence here. Looks like they're just going to waltz in and take it down if they have the wave.
Link is keeping it pushed up fairly well, though, and with that blue buff in the bottom lane, it's not going to be taken very soon. Gotta say as well, with that Elise jungle, Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, he's going to be going kind of damagey jungler, and that's not the jungler who will do the Lock of the Iron Solari plus Aegis build. So if anyone has to build it, it's going to have to be Patoy, which means he's really going to have to live on that Philo Stone for a while and not ward as much.
Let's see if they can switch it around. A lot of things are going to have to change for Dignitas this week. As we said, that pinch jungler DJ Lambo subbing in here just for the week. Aphromoo to clear out some wards as CLG looks to gain more map presence. Visions, or wards are vision.
Yeah,
wards are power.
vision.
Wards are power.
Vision is power.
Vision
Come on,
is
man.
power.
We'll get
kidding. So we see Lambo again, every buff for Lambo this time. It looks like he's going to grab everything for himself. Chouster to head to the top lane. Link now to the top lane as well, as everybody's kind of switching up. Hotshot GG in the bottom. Scara will back. Will they decide to go into Kiwi Kid, forcing the flash of the Cataclysm?
That's a good cooldown trade for Chouster if he wants to go for it. There's a 108-second cooldown on his Cataclysm, but that's a 300-second cooldown on Kiwi Kid's Flash. So if he does that again, they'll be able to get the kill. It's just a matter of time. And because Dignitas isn't applying that much map pressure overall, Chouster's completely fine letting his Cataclysm go down. They wouldn't need it for a dragon fight because they already know the dragon's down. And there's actually not even really turret pressure being applied by Dignitas either, so CLG is free to do whatever they want.
You can completely see what's different between the younger and the veteran teams, right? Dignitas knows they can't really make moves. They're not putting themselves in positions that would make this game a 4-1 or a 5-1. Right. It's 1-0. They know what they can and can't do. It's not really a struggle for them right now, but they haven't found the entry into their top or advantage side of the game.
They will have to make one pretty soon, though, right? The problem is, though, it's a Lock of the Iron Solari on Chouster and a Frozen Heart on Hotshot GG. Where is Dignitas' team fight going to come from, right? Link has the good poke from his Nidalee Spears, especially once he gets a little bit of AP. Hotshot has the utility here, and Chouster round 2 doesn't have really anything this time. Let's see if they can force something from Kiwi Kid.
His ult is still down on this one, actually, as they go into it as well. Kiwi Kid taking a bit of damage here. There's one final chunk, and it looks like he is able to get the lantern from Patoy.
The Dark Passage saves him there. Patoy came all the way up, but he actually focused and rotated down from mid lane. Let's see if Hotshot can keep defending this turret, because CLG doing an admirable job keeping all their buildings up.
Absolutely, a little bit of damage to Hotshot as well, but he keeps sustaining that passive to good. Keeps in the lane with the minion wave helping him out here. Chouster looking to activate something in middle again. They are just on Kiwi Kid's tail.
They do not want Kiwi Kid having any freedom there. He's just sitting on that sheen, and the overall pressure from CLG is superior here. They got that middle lane coming through. This is a cannon minion wave. Chouster's ultimate is up. There they go.
Oh, the crescendo. Where's the Cataclysm coming in? I just wanted to see it anyways. There it is. It's going to force the flash. They are able to get the final third bolt from Double Lift. DJ Lambo finding a turret to trade it back.
They actually bursted down Kiwi Kid before he could even use his intervention. That was so much spike damage, and they know that 2 people on Dignitas are bottom right now, so So the only person that could potentially defend this is Batoy. CLG going to get turret number 2.
And it looks like they are grabbing that second middle turret as Scara and DJ Lambo coming back from the bottom side, trying to pinch in CLG, but they were not able to find him, and really just there to clean up the minion wave.
This is one of those things, I mean, yes, a lot of people will crutch on Crumbs not being here being one of the reasons Dignitas isn't performing right now, but CLG shows up against the top teams and their big-time rivals. CLG, when they play TSM, plays really solidly. CLG takes games off of Curse. CLG is actually the hardest scrim opponent for Dignitas. Scara says that they lose more scrims to CLG than they do any of the other teams. So finally, maybe CLG is taking their scrim success to the big show, because that's something they haven't been able to do yet this year.
Right, and they're doing it methodically. It's not like they specifically went after Lambo and hurt his jungle. They're just playing their game, and they're making each lane a winning lane right now. 3-0 at 18 minutes, and they found just about a 5,000 gold lead.
This is really big for them. 3 turrets to 1, plus the dragon, plus the kills. They are playing almost flawless right now. No one has died on their team. They protected all their lanes really well. You know, the dragon is up for 25 seconds, and they're going to go ward around this spot right here. I expect pink ward being placed on dragon there by Chelsea. They're warding as a team. You can see Kiwi Kid is already in the top lane, trying to run down now. They might be a little out of sorts. I wonder if CLG goes for a team fight here. Chelsea's Cataclysm will be up in a few seconds. Aftermove's still got about a quarter cooldown on his Crescendo as well.
Double pink, 2 good on Dragon. Triple pink coming out for CLG. They're really taking away any danger for this attempt here. They're going to even get blue for Link before that starts to get them fight ready, and they're going to go into this one quite strong. We see Dignitas is almost ready for this.
Dignitas actually wants to try to get down the middle turret, hoping they can catch CLG doing a dragon, because Dignitas has been trying to get this turret for about the last 10 minutes. Maybe they'll get it here, but I think CLG's far enough ahead that they will fight for this turret if they can.
That turret has not seen a shot since we last said at 13 minutes it was low on health, so they could not get it there. CLG repositioning to stop that mid-wave push. And looks like Dignitas actually forced all the way back to their side just from the vision of CLG, and that could be enough for the Dragon.
They're worried about the Crescendo and the initiation potential from CLG. They're going back, clearing their own buffs, and this is probably just going to give up the Dragon. I wonder if Dignitas can push up the mid lane in time, but they were so far out of position, I believe like CLG will be able to rotate.
They don't have that wave clear they want. Hotshot could put himself in the middle of the fight here. They silence out Kiwi Kid to try to pop him up. This would be a pretty hard initiation. They're losing too much vision, but they're going to stay in mid. Chowster now finding that a little bit in the fog of war, but they are going to group up and back off.
Chowster does not want to overextend himself and get himself out of position of his team. He's had some amazing Jarvan ults and some not so amazing Jarvan ults in these past few games, so he's really going to want to make sure to make the right one count here, because they got a huge lead already. They do not want to throw this away.
And there's not a lot of poke damage coming from Dignitas as they try to go. Cataclysm goes in. Everybody gets out. He's pulled back in. Chowster for the flay from Patoy, and he eats the spear all the way to death. Very nice job from Link. Picks himself up a kill there. 4-0 now, 20 minutes as they go on the inhibitor turret.
Aftermoose still has his ultimate, and they are still poking. CLG will probably want to continue this one, or Dignitas will fight him.
So there's the lock of the Iron Solari going off. The fight's going to initiate from Scara. He's right in the middle. The Crescendo goes down. Did he get the dodge out? Scara gets obliterated in this fight. Cutie Pie finds himself going down. Double Lift getting some big kills here.
Hotshot GG with all that armor from Frozen Heart and Ninja Tabby just tanking that turret up. We're only 20 minutes in, Riv, and CLG's taking the inhibitor tower.
This is absolutely crazy. Counter Logic looking super flawless here. They have played every lane great this game and really just kept it in the mid lane for the better part of the last 3 minutes, and they found themselves an inhibitor based solely off of team presence. The Repel goes in. Can Lambo start this fight for his team? The Lantern goes out, which means they're going to play it safe.
Finally, Chowster goes down, so the first blood of the game for Dignitas happens at 21 minutes, but it's at the cost of their inhibitor. That is super detrimental to their long-term strategy here. That was just Hotshot powering up in that fight, right? Like, Scar went in with Zed without much backup. They didn't have the tank initiation potential on anyone for Dignitas, right? Like, where's their tank jungler right now? They have an Elise who built the Spectral Wraith item, but no Aegis, right? No auras coming through. I'm a Cutie Pie doesn't have anywhere near the item threshold the Double Lift has reached, and he just got completely focused off there on the side, right? Dignitas is really fighting a losing battle at this point, because with a team comp like that Dignitas has, with so many squishy threats, they really have to pull ahead in the game. They cannot afford to fall behind like that.
And actually, you kind of see them realizing that. Like we said earlier, DJ Lambo is going to want to continue to build damage, and he actually is forced to go for the defensive build now.
Whether that was a plan all along, or whether that was a reaction to them not having magic resist against Nidalee Spears is yet to be seen. Like, Aegis is not the ideal item for Elise. Like, even even top lane Elises that build tanky will go Magic Pen and then tanky items. But DJ Lambo doesn't even have the Magic Pen yet. He hasn't been able to buy his Sorcerer Shoes. He hasn't gotten a Haunting Guise. And he's really just built that Aegis, I think because the team realizes they really need it. There's a death cap on Link. Those Nidalee Spears are destroying people. CLG actually knows better than anyone how much you need a Runic Bulwark against a Nidalee because Mandatory Cloud on Vulcan destroyed them with it in 1 week. CLG learned their lesson, and they're going big this game.
And it looks like Dignitas is actually going to try to feed CLG some of their own medicine. We see Kiwi Kid picking up a Lich Bane. They want to re-push these lanes. They want to also have a split push comp here, and hopefully Kiwi Kid can be the one to push that out for him. We see him trying to fend off a top lane here as CLG still stronger on the split push at the current moment.
And Chouster is in that lane as well, while Hotshot has the split push with the teleport. And here's the thing. He's trying to harass down Scara. There's nothing Scara could do to stop Hotshot from teleporting. So he is an extra person on the map. They're actually sending 2 people down for him because he's almost killing Scara 1v1.
These are just auto attacks. There was a feast in the beginning, shouted at him a little bit there, and Hotshot doing what he did at Season 1 and 2, back to normal, baiting the team for a Baron.
Check this out. He knows he has 2 people low in the bottom lane.
Oh,
He's like, guys, just go do Baron. Look at how much CLG was warding up that blue jungle while Hotshot was toying with Scara and DJ Lambo down bottom. This is something Dignitas doesn't even realize is happening, and Hotshot didn't even have to burn his teleport to make this happen.
He is just sitting in the bottom lane. He hasn't even really lost any health in this engagement and still has the bigger minion wave out of the fight after sending 1 back. DJ Lambo tries his hand. They call Kiwi into the bottom lane now, and it's going to be now 3 people who have attempted to push Hotshot away.
So CLG initiates Siege right now with a long-range poke from Nidalee. Tyr the Goddess getting stacked up, firing those Nidalee Spears. They know they have Hotshot in the lane, so something's breaking. Hotshot's completely undefended on that other side turret. More free objectives for CLG.
How can you split push back when it's just coming at you so hard right now? The middle lane is pushing itself as well. Lambo there trying to fend it off. And Hotshot just having a heyday in the bottom lane here as he looks to take down probably the 3rd or 4th turret himself of the game. 6 turrets now in favor of CLG. A 7th one to slowly follow here as he waits for the next minion wave.
CLG looks like they're rotating around, hoping that Dignitas pokes out a bit, and Scara is getting caught.
Whoa!
But they're not going.
That was a very close spear for a lot of damage.
Yeah, that was a lot of things. Scara does not have magic resist. He's really focusing on getting through all the armor that Hotshot's been poking out. He's built the Last Whisper way before you see most Zeds do it because that Frozen Heart from Hotshot is creating so much power.
Looks like they're going to be able to just take this one down easily, staring straight into the white of Dignitas. And I don't think Dignitas is really going to be able to do anything. They're just blinking and their turret went away. So CLG now looks for the inhibitor. They still have the mid one down, so they have the super minions there to have a hassle with. Patoy just dodging out on that spear, and it looks like they may have to initiate on this.
This looks like one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't situations for Dignitas. They know they have to fight. There's a hook, but they don't even go in off of that.
You don't want a Chouster. He's just going to dive right in on you. Missing that pop-up. It's going to be Scara wanting to go in. He gets silenced and crushed down. Diving into the fight, there's just so much AoE. Could not stay alive. Kiwi Kid throws on the intervention, and Dignitas is forced to run. Cutie Pie puts himself at the top side. CLG knows they don't just need the kills. They're taking the objectives.
That was not an organized fight from Dignitas. CLG created the pressure for them, but even in a last-ditch fight, that was very much Scara going in solo and no one else following up. They could not get into that fight, and they got obliterated by CLG, who's now sweeping the inhibitors. 3 down at 25 minutes. They might look to end soon.
Curse did it to Mar, and CLG does it to Dignitas. Another game of all your base belongs to us, and it looks like you said CLG may be able to end this soon here. They're taking down the first Nexus, 26 minutes into the game, 7-1 here, the second Nexus turrets. Eyes on the Nexus.
This is it for CLG. 25-minute win against Dignitas, the second-place team in the North American LCS, who needed to do well this week to potentially pass Curse. They got destroyed by CLG there.
We said they have 7 games left, and 7 wins would be the optimal thing for them. 6 of those are left to go after now beating Dignitas.
So if that's the type of Dignitas we're going to see this week, it does not look good for them. They'll need to regroup going into Super Week. They need to regroup today. Hopefully they don't put too much pressure on DJ Lambo, but that was not a solid Dignitas performance by any means. It was a great performance by CLG. I really wonder how much CLG's confidence is going to rise after that game and how much they're just going to say, oh, it's because it wasn't the full Dignitas lineup. But if you're just basing that off, that is the most solid victory CLG's had on Dignitas.
It was a super well-played game. You can always go into a game saying, yes, we have this, and then get complacent. But they went into it strong. I think Crumbs would have been a good factor there. DJ Lambo didn't play bad, and Crumbs is a pivotal part to almost the abacus of Dignitas in that early game.
Yeah.
But CLG played so strong there. Like you said, I don't think it would have mattered.
Right, because the individual lane matchups like Hotshot, just farmed great against
Yeah.
Scar. That was a great Cho'Gath game for him. In mid lane, like, Link survived. Doublelift got his farm on Vayne. He completely out-farmed Diamond Cutie Pie in position in team fights like that. None of that had to do with Crumbs being out.
So 2 very fast games here at the start of Week 9 for the NALCS. It's time for a short break, but when we return, we'll have Link and Afremu from Chronologic Gaming. Plus, Freak is finally back from his Euro trip, and he'll break down today's biggest plays. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everybody, and I am pleased to be joined by Afremu and Link from Chronologic Gaming. You guys just had an incredibly impressive win over Dignitas. Were you expecting that kind of performance coming into this week?
If we were going to lose today and tomorrow, we would have been pretty disappointed because our scrim record this week has been like 11-1 or something like that,
wow.
or like 13-1. So we've completely dominated all of our scrims, and it wasn't like just like close games where we like throw over and over again. I mean, we might have had like a couple of those, but for the most part, they were like stomps. So.
Right, so I mean, getting into this game as well a bit, you guys had it from start to finish. Was that because your scrim record was so impressive this week, or do you think that had something to do with Dignitas' new roster? How much do you think DJ Lambo for Crumbs affected Dignitas this week?
Not having your regular jungle there is definitely hindering. I mean, Crumbs is a great jungler, one of the top junglers, and I think he should have been in the All-Star vote. but he's down there, so I voted for him. And definitely doing well in practice is a lot of help too. And having everyone on the same page, not really having the extra talk coming from people, being miscommunication, not knowing what to do. What do I do? You just walk in a circle.
Yeah.
And we've definitely got rid of that. And just listen to Chaucer. As you can see in the game, it's just boom, 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 and that's how I won the game.
All right, so Link, were there specific instances in that game where you could tell that Dignitas wasn't really clicking, or was it just you guys performing?
DJ Lambo's tried to gank me over and over again, like bottom lane, and he tried to do a lot of these ganks, but they were kind of predictable. So the pressure he applied compared to like what Crumbs does, like Crumbs sometimes just walks into lane and then just like eased away with like Nasus, and then that's like pressure already. But I feel like DJ's Lambo is trying to like too much of a ninja tactic where he's trying to like get you from surprise, and that sort of ganks don't work in competitive play because it's sort of obvious, or it's too predictable in a sense. So yeah.
All right, so you guys, getting back to your scrim schedule, 11-1, but even all season, everyone's talked about, and especially yourselves, how well you're doing in scrims, but then you don't perform in the LCS. Do you know why you're doing so well in scrims and then sometimes don't perform in the LCS? Or have you figured that out yet?
Well, my team says it's cold in there.
It's too cold.
It's too cold. But
that's it?
I mean, I don't know. I guess in more high-pressure situations, we miscommunicate more than sitting at home where it's just calm.
All right.
So, yeah.
So do you think as the season progresses and you guys get a little bit more comfortable with the studio, you think you're going to start creating your scrim success and move it on to LCS success?
Well, LCS games are really different because compared to scrims, there aren't really any like kills early game. Like, you know, you can go like 0-0 for like 20 minutes. So what happens is all these team fights that happen at like Dragon, they're like the win or lose, fight, right? So it's a really high pressure situation. And then say you like get a kill or something, then people start going crazy, and then that doesn't really happen in scrims. Because in scrims, people just die over and over. And it's like whatever because it's a scrim. So LCS games are completely different. So, just practicing and reminding each other to stay calm throughout the game and being like, just listen to Chaucer, calm down.
Right.
Where do we have to go? Just listen. And then we sort of know what to do.
All right, so Aframu, I actually noticed in some of the stats we had, you have the highest team participation in either kill or assist of everyone in the LCS. Even though you have been getting some flack, some people weren't saying you're a great support, but right now, do you take any pride in the fact that you are the top support? Do you think you're doing well in your role?
Heck no, dude. I suck. But I do all right. All I really do is just focus on getting better and listen to my teammates and watch the other supports in LCS. I definitely watch Batoy a lot. I watch Special a lot. That's pretty much it.
All right.
And I just watch them, what they do that's right, and try to implement that in my own play while still having my style, I guess.
Got it. So you guys still have some more games this week, and then you have Super Week next week. So a lot of potential moving in the standings could still happen. Right now, you're pretty solidly in 4th place. Are you looking to make any moves in Super Week, or is Super Week more about just getting yourselves ready for the playoffs?
Actually, all of these games, we're just trying to get ready for the playoffs. Like, we don't even care if we're 5th place or if we're 4th place or 3rd place. It's just, we're just trying to create like a really solid baseline with team comps and practice so that we can just win playoffs. That's our goal.
Awesome stuff, guys. So thank you to Link and Aframu for joining me for this interview. We had an incredibly impressive win by them just now against Dignitas. We'll see if they can carry that success through to the rest of the season. But now we have Freak with some clips from the previous game on the Telestrator.
Hey, Jack, thank you very much, and I am back from Germany, and so I wanted to bring out the 2 clips from CLG vs. Dignitas that really snowballed the early game. So the one thing I want to point out here is that CLG has a number of crowd control champions, most notably Sona, and PewDiePie is taking Barrier. Now the problem is this allows them to gank him successfully a whole heck of a lot. So take a look at the map right now. Of course, we have Double Lift, and we have the Sona, which is Aframu, right, basically in range, and she's going to flash ult and get the kill on a PewDiePie. Now notice as well that right down here, we've got the Jarvan in the minimap. He's right there ready to counter gank. Thing is, he's actually standing on a ward. They've got a vision ward in that brush. They know he's coming, but you're going to see CLG initiate right on time. Let's run the clip out and watch what happens. You're going to have a flash ult from Aframu. It catches PewDiePie. Everyone shows up. They get not quite the knock-up on him, but they do get at least the Cataclysm for damage, and they just burst him through by just having enough damage overall and enough crowd control, and a lot of that comes from not having cleanse to give them the time to close into that fight. Now the second one is, again, the same game, same kind of setup. The funny thing here is they've seen Chaucer come in. Chaucer in the top corner over here, they've seen him show up. Look at the minimap. You've got this little blue dot right there. right on top of his head that says they've pinged him. That's the rest of that ping animation. So they know Chowster is here looking to gank. And watch what Cutie Pie and Kiwi Kid do. Initially they back off, but let's run the clip and watch what happens. So he backs off, he's afraid, and they take some time here as CLG pushes down, and they're like, you know, I don't think he's here anymore. And they come back too strong under the turret, and again, same thing, flash ult Sona. Edward would be proud. They jump right on a Kiwi Kid, double knockup. Cutie Pie tries to get out. Dunk is too much. They get just enough damage out there. And again, that's a double kill coming out from a really, really well orchestrated gank by CLG. Sometimes, guys, when you're fighting a flash ult Sona, you might just want to take cleanse. It just might save your life sometimes. Well, that's going to do it for us over here at the Telestrator. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Freak. Earlier in the show, we asked you which NA LCS Pros playstyle has most influenced your game and why. And here's what you tweeted. T-Rose93 says, Voyboy's hyper-aggressive play style. It taught me that it's okay to play with aggression as long as you calculate what you're doing.
Which is very true, but it's very difficult to calculate what you're doing, especially with Voyboy. And anyone who watches Voyboy's stream has to keep in mind, he does a lot of stupid stuff, and he gets killed very frequently. So it's a good play style. You got to make sure people are on board with it.
Absolutely. Lou Cactus VG says, Dyrus has easily taught me the most out of all the pro players, teaching that out-CSing your opponent will win your lane.
Well, this is the other thing. It's just the contrast between Voyboy and Dyrus.
Right.
Voyboy's the crazy aggressive one. Dyrus is the consistent one. Sometimes he just pressures you out just because, like, man, he's getting really strong, What do I do? Force you into a mistake, and Dyrus's consistency can win out. So those are two actually very distinct styles in top.
And one of our last XHC Hope Inc. says, I'm a Cutie Pie, has made my play style much more carefree. And when you are carefree, you are more willing to make plays. I really like that.
Yeah, I'm a Cutie Pie, probably one of the most carefree players in all the LCS. You look at him practice, and he's playing Heimerdinger, AD Thresh, all these other things. Then he comes to LCS, you're like, damn, he's really good. So he kind of proves that you can be carefree and just kind of mess around, but when it's game time, you still have your game face.
Take comfort to a whole new level. All right, everyone, keep those responses coming. And remember, we're at LOL Esports, #LCS. We still have plenty more action today, but remember, Week 9 of the North American LCS continues Friday at a special time with the finals of the Summer Qualifier. Then, after we crown the champs, the pros return to the stage beginning with GGU taking on Dignitas. Scara and the crew desperately need a win if they want to keep first place in their sights. It all starts at a special time, 1 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central European Time. Now, don't go anywhere. Our third match of the day is right around the corner. It's Probably in Complexity versus Cop and the first place Curse. Stick around.